It was an exploration of a town in crisis that could be, and the question was, and I think is, for many communities that do this piece, how are we similar to this community? How are we different than this community? Oh my goodness, the world is paying attention to a young gay man who has been brutally assaulted at first and then died. Is this a moment that this theater company or we as artists can contribute to the dialogue that's happening on current events in this way? Can we as theater artists be a part of that conversation? Can we contribute something artistically in a way that's going to not necessarily expose this, but kind of put a magnifier over this community that's going through this post-trauma?
One of the reasons why the foundation believes this is so important, and Judy and Dennis believe it's important to support these, is because it keeps the message alive. It keeps Matt's story alive. The story of what happened to Matt and the messages, unfortunately, are still relevant today.
I feel like Matthew Shepard was like that critical mass point where something like the dam just broke and we started talking about something as a nation for the first time.
Like I was like thrown into this thing I had no idea about, like this everything that happened, and it was because I was, one, or not even one, when it happened, and just being thrown into all this, I feel like I have learned so much and grown quite a bit just from this one show I'm doing, and it feels really great to say that.
The casts will often talk about how their participation in doing this show has changed them or opened their eyes, or at the very least made them think a little differently. And that's really what we hope to achieve with the talkbacks, is not just, part of it is processing what they've seen and answering questions about what they've seen, but also how does it relate to your own life?
It's definitely changed my view on things. We can be a community, we can come together. I don't need to trash talk that person in my head. That person has their problems, I have my problems, and it made me realize that it's not just me in the world.
When you're portraying people who are living and breathing, and you're not a fiction writer, you're not sitting in a room alone kind of crafting a play of characters that nobody's ever seen or heard from before, there's a really deep responsibility. I always think about, God, what would my life have been like if I got to perform in one of these plays when I was in high school?
We went to Laramie the next week once we got in, and it was just a life-changing experience being up there and realizing I need to be in this play because this is important.
This is what this is, and this happened to another human, and we get to tell this story, and we get to try and make a change.
Who says it? Romaine. She was in a society that's so much about hate right now. We need to talk about love and compassion, and that is so true. And I never even, I'm so caught up in school and theater that a lot of the time I don't think about, everything else that's going on in the world because I'm focused right here. But then when you step back and look at it, there's so much going on in the world. And then when we tell this story, it's we need to tell the story. We need to show that we need to love people, regardless of what they are or who they are,
Talk about it. That's one of the biggest things, is to talk about it. Don't be silent about it. Don't pretend that it doesn't exist. Don't pretend that it's not here. Even if it's not the most huge problem in your own community, it might be in a neighboring community or in the world at large. Just be aware of it. And if you have a story to tell your story.